Hello, welcome back, or welcome along if you're new. So here we are now with part two, and don't worry if you're seeing this a couple of days after. I'm not a dirty stinking git if I wear the same t-shirt every day. I'm filming all these intros at the same time, one after the other. So by now you may well have seen part one, which is a review of the actual Tamiya kit of the 1/350th scale CVN 65 Enterprise. Is it USS Enterprise, or is it CVN 65 Enterprise, or is it CVN 65 USS Enterprise, or is it USN Enterprise? Let me know in the comments what you think. But basically here we are, we've got the Tamiya kit, which was released in '84. So I'm guessing, I haven't looked yet, but I'm sure the information's out there because the information about this model is everywhere. I'm not sure what period she's modelled in out of the box, so check your research and stuff. Like, for instance, if this is like a 1980s livery, you don't want to go and start putting F-14Ds on it, do you? Or something like that. Or, you know, Phantoms on a later version. Just be careful what you're doing. So, yeah, as I say, in part one, we had a look at the kit. I didn't open any bags or anything because, as I say, there are many, many reviews out there already on YouTube. And the thing is, if I open the bags, then the kit halves in value straight away. So, pretty much. So, you know, I'm not going to open the bags on it. A lot of my kits I am going to sell going forward, and a lot of them, obviously, because when I buy them, I review them, they are opened, but I will probably sell them through the channel rather than sell them on eBay, and that way the people that buy them know who they're buying from, they know they can trust me, and they know that I'm not lying, you know. So, a lot of the kits, as you know, have just been opened and literally put straight back in their bags while the camera's still running. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, enough waffling. Here is part two of this build series, or not this build series, this video series, or review series. And in this part, we're going to be looking at the second best piece of aftermarket. And I've got the Eduard Big Ed set here, part one. And this is Big 5351, still made by Eduard. They haven't discontinued this one. And that contains 3 sets. It's Enterprise 1, 2 and 3. It's not sort of catwalks, railings, aircraft, whatever. It's just 1, 2, 3, and they have a mixture of bits and pieces in them, which you'll see in a minute. And in this one, we've got the part 2, which is Big 5352, and this one contains parts 4 and 5. So there's 4 parts to the ship, but also it has aircraft carrier figures, US Navy, present in 3D. So not quite sure. We'll have an interesting look at those, see what they look like. But there we go. So with Eduard, as you will know, if you're familiar with Eduard, you'll know that you get the Big Ed set, and then in the Big Ed set, you're basically getting the same as you get if you just buy the single set. So this is Enterprise Part 4, so that's in an envelope. You've got a sheet of photo etch there, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and then in there are instructions, but they are invariably black and white, but they are always small. So I like to go to the Eduard website, where you can pick up the instructions, you can download them and print them off in A4, so you end up with them in colour. So we'll have a look at those as well, so you can see better what you're getting for the ship. So I think without further ado, we'll get to the bench and go from there. Okay, so here we are at the bench, and we've got both sets here. We've got part 1 and part 2. So I got these from Hannon's. They're available all over the world from all your best model shops, anybody that's stocked Big Ed. But yeah, browse eBay, which sometimes you'll see some great offers from some companies. But I got these from Hannon's. They always have them in stock pretty much, so just have a look round. So this is part 1. This is Big Ed part 1. As I say, this is Big 5351. So very complete sets these are, because Big Ed, if you're thinking about buying the individual parts, then you might want to consider getting the Big Ed, because you usually find if it's a 3-sheet or a 3-part pack, you'll generally find you're getting 1 free. So and it's sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes it's like, you know, if you've got like 5 sheets for a 32nd scale aircraft in one Big Ed set, those 5 sheets individually could be £100. And the Big Ed set's 63. So, you know, it's like, it's crazy. So always worth having a look to see the prices first. Now and again, just now and again, I've seen it where the Big Ed set is more expensive, but that's generally when the retailer's made a mistake on the price of the individual item, or they might have a sale on, they'll have 20% off all the sheets, but they won't have 20% off the big heads, so then it sort of works out. But anyway, and I would say these days with Eduard, this is not sponsored by them, I've paid for these with my own money from Hannants. With Eduard these days, if you see a set that you fancy, buy it, because they don't tend to stick around for very long anymore. They used to leave them on the shelves for ages, but they tend to, if you look at Eduard now, you know, there's some sets out there for pretty recent kits that have all been discontinued. So, you know, bear that in mind. So anyway, let's stop nattering. We'll have a look at this one. So this is part 1. If you're not familiar with Eduard, this is a bit weird. I can't see where the end. There it is. If you're not familiar with Eduard, this is what you generally get in one of their sets, okay? So you will get 1, 2, 3 sheets of photo etch or whatever. So in here, I think we've just got the one, and they're always a little bit difficult to remove, but we'll get it all out nonetheless, if we can. It's not easy, because the card is generally like a micron smaller than the actual bag, the actual bag. So there's our sheet of brass in there, so we'll get that out. If it wants to come out again, that's stuck on the corners. Okay, so we'll put the bag out of the way because that's all shiny and reflective and everything. And then we've got the card. Okay, so you've got the front there, you've got your card here, which keeps everything nice and flat. Okay, and then you've got your instructions. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, in the intro, Eduard generally, sometimes they're black and white, but they're always small. And as you can see, this is tiny. So what I do is I go to the Eduard site, put in Enterprise, get up the big heads, and then download the instructions and print them out. So as you can see here, we have that exact same instruction sheet, but it's printed out bigger. And in some cases, I mean, this is very simple, so you don't really need to do it. But in some cases where you've got a lot of complexity going on, it's sometimes better to print it out yourself. And I've also double-sided printed because I want to save the planet. So there we are. Right, so basically we've got one sheet of photo etch. For doing this, you can use solder, you can use super glue, you can use white glue, you can use varnish, whatever. But what we've got here is basically, as you can see, like I said, there's no sort of, like with aircraft, you'll get cockpit, bomb bay, undercarriage bays, armament, engines, whatever. With the ships, it's part 1. And in this one, we've basically got all the racks for the lifeboats, and then we've got detail parts for the ship's boats. So this is all about the ship's boats, part 1. Okay, so you can see here on this sheet we have a multitude. Let's get this card backing out here. Let's get the white side. You can see on here we have a multitude of these racks for the lifeboats, and then you've got the racks that they're going to go onto. So you can see here we have, this is number 1, so they're all number 1s. You've got to fold them up, so you've got to fold the sides in, fold the bottoms up, okay, and it looks like you've got a bit going across the front as well. So you can see on the side of there, okay, you can see you fold the sides in, then you fold those, they look like hooks, you fold them across to a bridge on the front, and you fold the bottom up, and that gives you that shape there, as you can see in the instructions there. Okay, so that's what you got to do there, and then you're going to stick them to there. So you're going to have 2 there and 2 there. So here you've got 3. Okay, so they're telling you here to make 8 pieces for number 5. So you'd assume you'd have 4 number 5s, but here they're telling you to make 8 pieces. 8 doesn't go into 3, so I'm assuming this is 8 of those. So you've got number 4s. So we've got 1, 2. Okay, got it. So it's 8 of these. So it's actually, in this case, it's 24 of those, and in this case, it's 4 of those. So that's 4, 4. So that's 16. And then here you've got 8, 5. So that's 40 of those. So you're going to have great fun doing this. And then you could just super glue them on, and then you're going to find out in another video that I do about the instructions. Now, one of the biggest issues here, if this was a trumpeter Enterprise, this would all be in the instructions. Okay, you would get to the point of the instructions here where you're going to fit, do we have any racks here, because they're saying replace E26. Yeah, so basically E26 is here with the 3. Okay, so there's that one there with the 3. So they're saying this R means replace E26. And there's E26 and the instructions there going onto the side of the ship. There's E24, replace E24. There's E32. That's a typo. That's a typo, that should be 32. And the 4s are 31s, are they? Where's a 4? I can't see a 4. There's a 4, 31s, yeah. So that's a typo. That's replace E32 and that's replace E31. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is take these pieces here. So you can see we've got, they're telling you here 24, 26, 31, which is here, the 4, 32 and 33. So 32 is the 4s and 33 is going to be probably the singles. Okay, so there's 33 there. So I'm assuming, yeah, so you're going to have 33 here. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's at least 7 of those. So you're basically going to make up, all these frames here, and then you're going to attach those to them, and then you're going to fit your lifeboats. I keep calling lifebelts. Your lifeboats. But basically, what you'll have left over will be your singles. So that's a single, that's a double, that's a triple, that's a quad, and that's a 5. Okay. Now here you can see this is typical Eduard. You can see parts to be removed. They got that coloured in red. So you can see here we've got, that is part E33, I believe. Yes, that's 33. So that's just the double. So you can see in the instructions that 33 is here and it's paired up. Okay, so there'll be a plastic lump on the back of there. You've got to cut that lump off and then individually glue 2 of these onto that photo etch rack. And that is going to look much, much better than having a great lump of plastic. What I should have done was got the parts out of the box to show you. Coming over the page, we've got the ship's boats. So looking in here for the ship's boats, wherever they may be. Again, as I say, in another video, we're going to talk about this. But it's one of the problems with aftermarket photo etch. You don't necessarily work in order. If you can't go and buy set 1 and start your ship and then buy set 2 and carry on, because as you can see here, part 1 of the photo etch is nothing to do with anything you're building in the ship. Here's a boat here. Launch B21. There's B21. So we can look in here and we have the instructions here. We have B21 and B20. Okay, there's B20 and they're showing you there. You can see here's the plastic part, what it looks like. They're showing you here to cut all that off. Okay, so you're going to leave it hollow. You could just sand it flat. I know you need to have it hollow because that's going to step down inside. So you're going to cut all this simple plastic off of here. Okay, then you're going to make up these bits of photo etch here, fold them up, and then you're going to glue that wheel onto the back and then drop that down in there. And then you've got a splash shield going over the top. You've got a rail going around the back, and you've got those 2 starches on the front. We've also got propeller gear and a rudder. So you can see it's adding lots and lots of detail. I'm surprised, they're probably doing another set. I'm surprised they haven't replaced this horrible thing here, this plastic lump B51, which is supposed to be the chains that's hanging off of. So you can see there, that plastic lump there looks a lot nicer when it's been done with the photo etch. And you can see on here the photo etch. So on here you can see, let's get the instructions out of the way, you can see here that we've got 18 and 19. So there's 18 and 19, so it's just enough for 1 launch in here. So we're going to fold those up to make those shapes, put some crystal clear in for the windows. We've got the lower deck area there that they're going to stand in, and then we've got the shield going over the top, which is 9 and 11. So we've got 9 there, which is the splash shield for the front, or the windshield, and then we've got 11 is the railing around the back, and we've got those 2 uprights on the front. And then down here we've got propellers and rudders. And then for the other boat you can see we got the same here. So we're just going to basically hollow out the inside of this model, of this boat, which is B22. and then we're going to add this piece 14, add 15 over the top, and add all the gear inside it. So it's going to look very, very nice indeed. It's a lot of extra work, but that's why we do modelling, because we enjoy playing with plastic, isn't it? So there we are. So that's a basic insight into photo etch if you haven't seen it before, and we've had a look at part 1. Now what we're going to do is move on and look at the other parts, but I'm not going to try and talk to you like you've never seen photo etch before. Okay? Okay, so now we can have a look at part 2. I've got these structures here to my right, and I can see that this again is only one sheet, so I'm not going to bother getting out of the bag. But you can see on here there is a lot of stuff. Okay, you can see a lot of really fine detailed parts there. We've got all these portholes. We've got, or there'll be wheels. That's a little rescue truck there. All sorts of different bits and pieces for all sorts of different parts of the ship. Okay, so this is actually a very, very generic set. I've actually got 2 of these. I bought another one because it's got a lot of extra detail on it, which isn't particular to Enterprise, but could be used on any model, or indeed you can double up for this model. So basically in here we will have the same as there, sheet of photo etch and the instructions. Now as you can see here, this is now an 8-page set of instructions, so you can see it's a lot going on. So I'm going to put that there, okay, so you can see it. Alright, move those out of the way. I'll put that there so you can see it, and then what we'll do, we'll have a look. In fact, I'm going to get that one off the screen. Right, there we go. So we'll have a look at this. So you can see here, we've got what looks like a sort of missile or bomb carrier or something. So we're going to fold up the wheels, so it's like a tricycle thing. So we're going to fold up the wheels, put them onto the frames. What's this saying here? That's the 29. Oh, I see, you're folding it over and then folding it over. So that's you're going to be folding that over. You can see that part. You see it looks quite big here, but in the instructions, where is it? It's there. We've got 2 of them. Okay, so that's that part there. You can see 29 right in front of my finger. So you're going to make that up from that. So there's going to be make 2. It doesn't say make 2, but we've got 2 29s here, so we can actually make 2 of them. Then we've got our little tow tractor. So here you've got the plastic tow tractor. You're going to cut all the detail off the front, and then you're going to add your part E25, which is, where's 25? Not always easy to find. Where's 25? There's 25 there. So you can see we've got 8 of those. So that's the front of your truck. Grid lights and everything. You're going to take off all that softly molded plastic, and then you've got a piece 40 going on the side. You're going to add a little piece of plastic there, and then you've got a steering wheel to go on. So as you can see, adding lots and lots of tiny little detail. And then coming over here, we've got a forklift. So this is actually not going to use any kit parts. You're going to actually fold this up yourself, okay, and you're going to make 4 of them. So there it is, 85. 85 is down here, so you can see you've got 4 of those down there. There's little forklifts you're going to fold up and solder or glue or whatever together. And then here you've got the rescue truck going together. So this is going to replace some plastic parts in the kit. So we are going to replace, these are probably going to be near the back. There we are, straight to them, right. So we've got E6, E8 and E14. So we've got 2 halves and a front. And what we're going to basically do is completely remake them out of photo etch and little bits of plastic. So that's our fire trucks. Okay, and you've got the wheels there. So that's really nice, and they're going to look absolutely great. Paint them, a little bit of a tiny wash just to highlight any details, and they're going to look great. And then coming on to page 3, we've got our crane, and as you can see, we're going to cut all of this plastic away from the kit part, and then we're basically, that's C41 and C42. I'm guessing that's 2 halves. We'll probably go straight to it again. There it is. So C41, C42, so that's our 2 halves. So you're going to glue them together and then remove the bumper around the front, all the top, all of this in the middle, and then we're going to be using plastic rod and folding. Oh, you're going to drill into that part there. That's the plastic here. You've got this remains here, which is the front lower part of the chassis. So you're going to put this disc in the middle. I don't know why. You're going to build up the cab. You've got the nose there with the engine detail and everything, got the engine grille, and then you've got a railing going underneath there, and then you've got your cab roof going on. You've got lots of detail going in here. You've got a hook, you've got mud guards for the back, you've got this toolbox or whatever that is going on there. You've got steps to go in the sides, you've got a step going up the front, and then you've got your wheels. So you're going to use the plastic parts. They're C40. You're going to use the plastic parts, but they're giving you photo etch hubs for that. So that's very nice. And then onto here we've got the aircraft. So again, whatever kit you've got, as I say, this set is very generic and very useful for all your models. So here we've got the Tomcat with its wings folded. So we've got undercarriage doors, we've got pylons, more undercarriage doors there, nose gear doors. That's an undercarriage door, and we've got an arrestor hook to go on the back here. We're going to use photo etch wheels and a plastic rod for the front undercarriage. So I'm guessing the kit doesn't have undercarriage. I'm not sure, but they're not mentioning it anyway. So here's the Tomcat. Oh, it does say so. I didn't see that there. So replace P3. There's the nose gear there. So obviously this is going to look a lot nicer than the kit nose gear. And also you can actually have it set up so you can have it lower down if you want to have it launching, so it's pulled down on the arrestor. Then we've got the Viking here, so we've got some detail going underneath. They're telling us to fill the hole in the bottom of the fuselage there. We've got some little antenna going on. We've got wheel, oh that's a pylon, sorry. We've got wheel covers there, it's not wheel covers, undercarriage bays, and an arrestor hook going on the back there. They're coming over the page. More gear, we've got pylons, undercarriage gear, wheels for the Corsair. And then we've got the A6E intruder, and we've got this box coming down out of the back, and that's where the radio gear comes out, so you can have that hanging out the back should you want to. Again, we've got the arrestor hook, we've got pylons, and we've got undercarriage doors, is that? I'm not sure if that's in the right place there. Not quite sure what that's supposed to be. So that's that, and then we've got the same for the F-18A Hornet. And then that's that. So that's set 2. So you can see there's a lot in there, a hell of a lot. So throw your boots on that one. Then looking at part 3. So remember, we're still with Big Ed part. Brooks Models cards everywhere. We're still with Big Ed part. Big Ed 1. Big Ed part 1. So we're getting these 3 sets in that Big Ed part 1. So again, you can see here we've got the one sheet of photo etch. So I don't need to do any getting them out. But you can see on here. We could go around, you can see you've got lots and lots of railings, some beautiful railings, radar array by the look of it, some floors, more railings, there's a covering for a sponson by the look of it. That looks like it may be a crane or something, or again part of the radar. So it's very, very difficult to work out what a lot of it is because it's a lot of it's used as parts of an assembly. So we'll have that sheet there. Now this is where things get difficult, and as I say, we're going to talk about this in the next video. I'm going to show you something that makes all this a lot easier. So here you can see we've got C, A, B, A, B, C. So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to make up this hose reel, all right, and we're going to add that where it says C. We're going to remove all this detail on here, you can see. So this bulkhead, I'm assuming this is part of the fantail, but just have a quick look and see. It would be good if the Eduard would reference in their instructions what step in the instructions the kit part is from, so they could put like D47 step 7, say, for instance. But I can't actually see those parts in here at the moment. I'm looking for them. Are they parts of the island? Yes, they're parts of the island. So they're going to be very, very in your face, in view, and a real eye catcher for the model. So here you can see we've got D46. So that's D46. All right, and it's telling us to remove, where it's got the red, it's telling us to remove that detail. And then we're going to add this door here, so you can have that door open. Okay, so you're going to remove that door detail from there sorry, you're going to remove that door detail from there. They've got it wrong in the kit by the look of it. So you've got that one door there, but what they're going to do, you're going to remove that one door and you're going to add a door either side of it, one there, one there. Okay, and these are the doors here, so you can have them, you put the frame in, okay, and then you can either have this door open because you've got all the detail on the inside, or you can have it closed. And if I show you quickly here, 135 is here. No, that's 162. No, okay, that's 135. The numbers are above the parts down here. So these are 135, so you can see the doors. So you've got the inner, the outer, and the frame of the door. So you can see you can have them actually open if you want to, and then you can actually cut into it, so have that door open, or just paint in black behind it or something. But very, very nice indeed. And then here we've got B. I don't know what that is. Okay, so they're showing it there, added onto the raised detail. So you've got raised detail on your part here, and you're going to add this photo etch. There's probably a little light or something. And then here you've got A, again, you've got the doors going on, so that's D47, which is the other side of the island. So you're going to cut those doors off and replace them with these photo etch doors. And then coming down here, we've got 44 and 45, and it's more of the same. And you can see here, when you get the steps going up, they'll always have a guardrail around them, or sometimes have a guardrail around them. And you can see on here, 110, there's 110 there. So there it is there. You're going to roll that around something, okay, and stick that onto there, and that's going to look like a guard going around a ladder. Really, really nice. It's going to add it's so good. We've got 1, 2, 3, we've got details to remove here, we've got doors and stuff to remove here, and then we've got bits and pieces going on there. We've got a, looks like a big hose or something, and then there's some clamps there holding it in place. And then here you've got a little raised area you're going to make, which isn't in the kit, and you've got a handrail to go around there as well. Again, check your references, because Eduard may have picked up from a different period that you were modelling your ship in, so make sure you check your references first. Right, so here you can see we're basically going to, are they telling us to complete? Yeah, they're telling us to completely remove D54. So here's D54, they're telling us to completely remove the plastic window frames and then add these little photo etch pieces 4 and 3, which are here, 4 and 3. So you can see they've got a very, very fine slot along the bottom. And also they're going to look much more realistic because the frames won't be really thick like the plastic is. Again, you see here D57 and D48. So we've got D57, D48. They're telling us to do the same on there. I'm not sure they've got that right. I think they mean D49 here. Yeah, that's D49. That's not D48. D48 is the back. We may well have a window to go in there, but it's not shown in the instructions. No, we don't by the look of it. We have some windows here by the look of it, so that might be, they might go in the back. But yeah, you can see here we've got windows in the front, windows in the sides, and then we've got these windows here in the back. So don't know if we're going to replace those or not. Maybe they're not even windows, maybe they're vents. But anyway, so there we go. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the frames, and then you can see here we've got the green. It's telling us to fill. So we're going to fill holes in the plastic parts, and that's because you can see here you've got F going in. Now this is F here, and this is a little antenna. It's like a little TV aerial, okay? And you're going to replace E21. So you can see here you've got, coming over the page, we have E21. Where are you? E21. E21. You've got these plastic lumps which are portraying those antenna. You can see here they're going to be tiny little folded bits of photo etch. They're just going to look so much better. All right. And then we've got these little binocular or searchlight emplacements or whatever, and you can see here D51, D55, D52, 55, 51, 52, and they've got some railings to go around them here by the look of things. They don't actually show you what it's supposed to look like when it's done, unfortunately. But I've got a feeling they're just railings that are going to get glued onto the side. Okay, but again, check your references. There's millions of pictures online. And then here we're going to build up this box section. We're going to replace that there with this box section. We're going to replace all these windows. We've got steps going on around here. You've got a railing going here, a railing going there. We've got this frame going in around. It's just absolutely loaded with detail, this set. Really worth getting. Okay, and then I'm going to step this up a bit now because I'm taking forever. They're giving you a corner to cut out there. You need to cut that out for some reason. You've got M and K. So we've got M here, which is a door frame. We've got K, which is another hatch. And then we've got the L, which is more of those antenna looking things. Okay, we got all these little lights going across here. I'm not really sure exactly what they are. And then you've got here, you've got a fold up 82, but you've got to actually cut a section of it out of it. That's amazing. And then we've got all handrails going around here. We've got some little gussets and stuff going on there. And then we've got this searchlight or antenna, whatever, it looks like a satellite actually, going on to here. We've got handrails going around. We've got another satellite here. We've got ladders, gussets on the bottom. It's showing us here what to remove and what we're going to keep. And all we're going to left with is that. Okay, so there's D36. And then all this detail here coming out. You see this moulded on box here. It's going to be replaced by a little photo etch one. So you'll have those open windows again. Another light or dish, whatever it is there. More railings. Another one of those step things going across. And then here you can see the stepped area coming out. And that is going to go on top of that. So we've got part D38. We're using the plastic. We're going to cut that bit off. I'm not exactly sure what this is replacing here. So we're cutting that off of there. We're not going to use D37. We're going to have a little folded up platform. We're cutting that off of there, which is that bit of the side there, that little sort of lookout, this piece here. And then we're going to fit all this on the top of it. I'm not quite sure what they're depicting there, but it looks like it's not included in the kit. So that's going to sit on top of those windows there, and that's going to sit on top of that. So again, check your references, check this what you want or not. Here we've got a platform, railings going around the side. We've got another sort of radar piece here, another platform with more railings. So this is another this is another radar. So again, you're replacing a plastic part with a nice radar, or even adding a completely new radar, telling us here what to remove on the plastic parts. Okay, and then we're on to sheet 5. We've got another satellite by the look of it here. We've got another platform. You're going to replace D13. Another radar here, another dish. Again, modifications to make to that. And then we've got these here. We're going to remove this part and stand it on that stanchion. We're going to remove the legs off the bottom of there. And then we're going to build this up. I can't quite see. It's telling us to remove these. I'm guessing these are going to sit on top of here, are they? But that'll be in the instructions. And then you're going to use this part here. You're going to remove the red parts and add these little photo etch blades instead. So very nice indeed. So you're not actually replacing that one and that one. You're going to put 2 on the front, 1 there and 1 there. And then you're going to replace that lump of plastic with that little leg there. Okay, and then over to page number 6, we've got the mast here, and then we're going to add these little bits and pieces to fit, cut to fit. We're going to fit those to the to that mast, and then you've got to cut this ladder to length. And you're going to, that's like a crow's nest sort of thing there, isn't it? And then we've got the radar going together. Again, you're going to replace a lump of plastic with this beautifully folded up radar, and you've got that, that's what I thought was a crane there. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, and then we're moving on to 7. We've got another radar antenna, whatever it is. So we're going to take D59, going to remove this plastic lump from the top. You're going to fit this leg, and then you're going to fit all of this up like that and have that radar in the right position. I wish they tell you what it is, but the Tamiya instructions tell you what things are, don't they? So that's good. And then we've got another one here. This is another radar, I'm assuming. We've got a couple of ladders going down the back of there. You're going to remove all that plastic and just leave that part from D56. Okay, and then we're going to come over the page for the final part, 8 of 8. And we've got detail there for our phalanx. We've got detail going in there. I'm not sure what that is. And then here you can see we're cutting away these solid plastic lumps and replacing them with lovely bits of photo etch, putting a handrail around the side there, and then we're going to fill that hole and fit that ladder down in there. And then we've got this little piece here going on D46. So you can see what is nice about these railings. You can see that rather than having them gluing them to the top edge, which is the most common you'll see in ship modelling, which always makes it difficult because they have to completely, you can imagine if we scale it up, if you can imagine this is the ship's railing and this is your plastic deck, you try and glue that railing down and keep it square all the way along. You want it tight up against the edge, you don't want it all wandering in and out. You don't want it like this, you don't want it like that. Whereas with these, you can see, if we look at this one here, 29 is there. Okay, you can see 29, it's got this lower section on it. So it's got this sort of extended bit, so you're gluing it around the outside edge. So it's much easier to make it look really, really nice. Same here, you're gluing that one around the outside edge. I don't think all of them have got it. Those railings there certainly don't, and these here don't, nor do they, but these do. These do. So you can see, really nice. They do there as well. Really nice. Okay, so that's been part 3. So that has been Big Ed set part 1. So that's what you're getting in that one there. So all of that photo etch in that set there. I think they're like £60 or £70 each, these. So I think they're well worth having. You may be thinking, bloody hell, 60, 70 quid for 3 bits of brass. Yes, it's a lot of money. No, it's probably not worth it at the end of the day. But when you look at the prices of aftermarket for ships, it's not like anything else. It's bloody expensive. You'll find a lot of photo etch sets for ships can run you up to £500, and that will be like, 20 sheets of photo etch, a few bits of resin, some wire, and a wooden deck. It's a lot of money. Right, so let's have a look at part 2. Okay, so here we have part 2, and you can see here we've got aircraft carrier figures, part 4 and part 5. And also I know that in here, because I've just had a look, and I've got my additional part 2 in here. So this is Big Ed part 2, okay, Big 5352. Don't confuse the part 2 with the part 2 on here. See, this is Enterprise part 2. That's Big Ed part 2, okay, so that's going to go back in that one. We've already looked at that one. So on here we've got part 4 and we've got part 5. Now part 4, we're going to get this out of the way. Part 4 is, again, it's one single sheet. So we can have a look at this and we can see we've got lots and lots of bits and pieces, lots of flat bits. I think this is going to be for the lifts. And we've got some mesh there. Is that perhaps for our blast shields? Or maybe they're a little bit big. But you can see we've got lots of stuff going on. Okay, lots of bigger parts. So maybe if you are fairly new to 350th ships and photo etch, maybe start with these because they'll be easier to work with. But you can see there's some lovely holes on there. Looking forward to seeing what this is all for. So I've got the instructions again, printed out for part 4. And you can see here, this is that blast shield there. So you're going to replace plastic part C11, and you can imagine this is going to look so much better. So we've got part 26 and part 48. So part 26 and part 48. That's part 48. So that's the bottom. So that's going to sit in the bottom of your well. And then part 26 is, where is it? Part 26. Got it, it's there. Where you'd expect it to be, between 47 and 36. So there it is, there's part 26 there. So you can see you're going to fold that up, okay? And that's going to make that lovely box on the back of that blast shield. And then you'll have, you've got this base here. This is for the wider one, which is here on the deck. You've got this base here. And then you're going to have all that detail on the back of the shield when it's folded up. It's going to look absolutely superb. Okay, so you've got the same for those 3 positions. Okay. And then coming over the page here we go. This is our lift. So we've got, well, I know that for a fact in the plastic kit, a lot of this here has got ejector pin marks in it, which will have to be dealt with. But here you can see what they're telling us to do is remove the bottom of this red part. Just the bottom of it. I can't quite see how much they're telling us to remove. It may be quite obvious when we look at the kit part, but they're telling us to remove the bottom, and they've got this grey line drawn around here. And that, I think, so this part here, 42 and 24 are going to be put together to make up a box, and that's going to go along the bottom there. Okay, and then we've got 2 and 33 going together, and they're going to go into there. And then we've got this box here which is going to go into there. Now this is not very clear. I really wish they'd shown us a picture of that, how it looks when it's made up, but they haven't. So you have to maybe look on the website, on the Eduard website. They often have pictures of the parts fitted to the plastic parts, so that might be a great help. And they've also, like I said, they've got this grey frame around the side here, and that looks very strange to me because I can't see any indication as to what that's for. If we look at the actual plastic part itself, here they are. So this is your lift. C32. C32. It's not a lift at all. Okay, so it is a lift. Just remember, I got confused about what this was in the actual kit review, but it is actually a lift. It's just that that one is immovable. So it's there. You can see the hanger door there going underneath it. So that is the bottom of a lift. So I wish they'd been a bit more clear with their instructions. And as I say, I can't work out for the life of me what this grey shadow line is around here. I don't know what they're trying to portray there at all. But there we go. So that's that. We've got the midship flight deck here. We're going to remove some plastic. So we've got the midship flight deck here, and we are going to remove all of this here. Okay, you can see. Yeah, you can see we've got that there. We're going to remove that. So look very carefully before you start cutting things, but just make sure you're only removing what you need to. And then we're going to come over the page, and we're going to add parts where we've just removed plastic. So again, check your references, making sure they're telling you to do the right thing. Got these little chutes here. That's for emergency. If you've got an aircraft and it drops some armament or something on the floor, you can quickly just chuck it off the side of the ship rather than risk it rolling back into the hangar or whatever and blowing up. Here we've got another part. We're going to remove some plastic. So that's showing you that's that there. And then coming over the page here, we've got number 4. And this is basically adding some detail to the inner workings of the lift. So you'll see this beautiful detail in here, which is very nice indeed. You can see this part here going in. So where is 14? Looks like they're not showing you 14, so that's 51. Okay, there's 14. So this is looking at it side on, long on. This is looking at it from the side. This is looking at it from the bow or from the stern, whichever way we are. But you can see we've got these details going in here. It's going to look absolutely stunning. So it's details to show up when the lift is open. And then coming over the page, we've got number 5, and here we've got this detail again. Again, we've got this grey shadow around the outside. I don't know what it's for. We're going to be removing the step from there. That's probably a catch net. And then we're going to add this detail here. Again, we've got this grey line around it. I do not have a clue what they're trying to show us. But there we go. We've got these parts going in here. We've got these parts going in here. So, and we can see here we've got all the photo etch sticking out. So that's giving you an idea of how it looks. Your best friend is going to be to find somebody on YouTube that's built one of these and use the Eduard set, and then you'll see how it all goes. And hopefully you can watch them get it wrong and then them put it right, so you'll know what to do. But as again, I cannot work out for the life of me what this grey shadow is around here. Very strange. There's grey shadows around everything. There's grey shadows there, there's grey shadows there. So that's showing you where that railing's going. I just don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure it will all become clear when you build it. And then you've got this catch net here going along the edge, safety net. And then here we've got the same again going on that ramp there, adding the details, adding a railing to the edge and putting a catch net down the bottom. Again, you've got the chute coming out. And then here we've got more internal detail for that rear loading ramp there. And then we're going to be cutting some parts about, adding some buttresses and stuff onto this rear ramp here. And then again, doing all the same. Again, we got this bloody shadow around there. And we've got a railing going along the edge of there, catch nets and bits and pieces. So it's basically rinse and repeat really. So there we are. So that's that one. That's part 4. You can see all those bits there. You're going to fold up and get in on the bottom of those ramps. It's going to look lovely. It'll look really, really nice if you can work it out. And then here, finally, not finally, we've got part 5. Okay, now this one, I'm looking at the instructions. This one's a bit weird. This is how it prints out on the Eduard website. You cannot print this out in colour. So it looks like this, okay? So that's like the old-fashioned Eduard instructions. But the rest is just fine. It's just that front sheet. So there we go. Now this one I can see we've got 2 sheets. So what we'll do, we'll open this one up and we'll get the etch out and we'll have a look at it and see what it looks like. So open this up, we can get this one out. Be very careful when you get the etch out the bags, guys, because if something catches, like if you've got the end of a railing or something, it catches on the bag, it'll just grab it and bend it over. It's not very forgiving. Okay, so also be very careful when you're putting it back in as well. So we should have another sheet in here somewhere. There we go, I can see it now. So there's that second sheet. So we can put that over there out of the way. So we've got 2 sheets here. And this is very nice indeed. You can see we've got some very finely etched grill there. That looks like a floor. And then here we've got like some sort of tower support. We've got more floor and ladders here. We've got railings. You can see we've got straight railings and we've got the chain type railings or the rope railings. We've got some steps there to fold up. Very, very nice indeed. And then we've got all our cable reels there rather than those big plastic lumps. Very nice indeed. One of the things I don't like about these modern kits is they don't tend to include the cable or the hose. They just have an empty reel. I know there are aftermarket hose reels out there that you can get. And then here we've got, this is a great big piece of photo etch. I don't know what that's for. And then here you've got more. This looks like safety nets, catwalks, whatever. And then we've got some more hatches down here by the look of it. Yeah, lots of very finely etched brass, all beautifully done. Very, very nice indeed. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put this one, I'll leave it out for now. What I don't want to do is damage it. Okay, so we'll put that there. So here we are then, page 1. We are going to add no? What are we adding here? 115. Or number 8, sorry. It's number 8, 4 pieces. I didn't see the 4. I just saw 8 pieces. So we've got 87 2 pieces. So we're going to add all these little details onto the hull. Now I've got a feeling that here you've got holes to fill. And as I say, if this was right, it would be green. And you would see where you've got to fill. So it looks like those there and those there you've got to fill. If you look at the actual kit itself, when you do that part, where are we, the bow? Okay then guys, sorry about that. It looks like what Tamiya have done is just given us holes to represent what we're replacing with these grills. As you can see here, it's telling you number 8, 4 pieces. And you can see here on this sheet, you have number 8, which is actually a little mesh grill. So I'm not exactly sure what it is, but Tamiya have just given you a hole, and what Eduard are doing is giving you a grill to go on rather than just a hole. So it's the same over here. It looks like they're telling you to, the trouble is you can't see because of the colours, but it looks like that's supposed to be fill, and then you're going to put these pieces in. So you've got 112, you're going to fill the rest of those holes. You've got 190, and then you've got two 112s going in. So there we go. Again, they're like little meshes. 190 is a rectangular mesh. And if you can see it, there it is there across the bottom. You've got a load of 190s there, sort of rectangular mesh. Then here you've got these portholes going in with the flaps down. So I'm not exactly sure what part C4 is. And then here we're going to remove that. See, that would be coloured red normally. We're going to remove that and we're going to replace that with that beautiful piece of photo etch we saw on there. So that's 195, yes. And then here we've got a lovely railing with a little shelter going over it. Again, we've got a shelter here with a railing going around. Again, we've got railings around here, so it's all just going to make it really, really pop. And then luckily we're off that bloody page now, we're onto this one. And again, you've got areas you've got to fill. So there's 3 holes there. We've got another little shelter, another railing. This is the main hull. You're going to cut that bracket off. Piece of 2mm plastic card with a chamfered edge by the look of it, or 3 chamfered edges. Got a railing going there. Another one of those rails like we had on the fantail, wasn't it? Oh, no, it was on the island, wasn't it? So that's going to go up in there. I haven't seen any detail for the fantail yet. And then here you've got the main flight deck. We're cutting that side away, and we're going to add this piece instead. We've got to fill the bottom of that part there, add some railings. So again, that's as clear as mud where that's going, but it might be quite obvious when you build it. And then you've got the railings here. They're telling you not to use A4, fill the hole. You're going to cut off that little round lump there and fill the hole. You've got another one of these little boxes here. Again, you're not going to use A4. And you're going to put that railing around the edge and you're going to fill that hole. And then here you go. Right, here's where we're getting busy. So here you've got green is fill and red is cut off. So you've got all these holes in the hull you've got to fill. Okay, and then the little raised bits you're going to cut off there, and some bits around here around the stern. We've got some photo etched ladders. You're going to cut off that. If you remember, we saw that in the review. We've got a moulded on ladder there. We're going to cut that off and replace it with a photo etch one. They always look so much better. And then here, what's that telling us? We're going to drill. Okay, so it looks like we're going to cut that lump off of there and drill a 4mm by 4mm hole, or cut a okay, that's what they're telling us. Cut a 4mm by 4mm square. That's what they're telling us there. Duh, sorry guys. And then here we're going to cut a grill off and replace it with a photo etch grill. Same here, and lots of filling. So you can see wherever you've got a green, you've got a number, you're going to fill it and then put a piece over it. I don't know why you can't just put the photo etch over the hole. I don't know why you need to fill it, but that's something that can be looked at. Okay, so that's page 3. And then coming over the page to page 4, we're back to the normal stuff. And here we are, this is our fantail. I always love the fantail on it. It's where my eye goes straight to on an aircraft carrier. Fantail and the island. So here we've got the rear end of the hull. So we're going to add that box, and there you can see it is fitted. We're going to add that door, and then we're going to put this railing in here. You can see the end that's going up a wall. It doesn't mean it's bent, it's going up the wall. So remember, blue is where you glue. And then you've got a ladder there, a platform and another ladder going in. So it's like a 2-stage ladder thing. And then here we've got this detail. You're going to cut away this floor and use this floor instead. So you're going to add that down to there. You're going to put a railing around the edge of there. So you won't have that big, thick, chunky plastic floor sticking out your fantail. You have this nice thin one. Here, that's already got all the railings and everything, all the detail on it from a previous section. And then here we've got some... Is that ladders going down in there? It looks like it might be there. They're going down the back. And then here we've got a little platform with some railings. You're going to replace part B54. So again, that's going to look stunning. We've got some little supports going there. That little whatever that is, some sort of vent or chute or something. Okay. And then here, more platforms, more railings, more supports, more ladders, more and more detail going on. We've got another reel here again with no cable. I guess you could always add some cable with wire or something. And then you've got the support for it there. And then we've got the little ladder going up the side of the ship there. We're going to take off all that stuff off the crane and replace it with photo etch. We're going to cut away a side there and add a piece of railing, and we've got a step going into there. That looks like it may be a searchlight of some sort. And then here we've got these bits. I'm not exactly sure what those things are. And then we've got some supports going on there, and that's going to be some sort of wall. That's 56, which is here. And 161. Not exactly sure what's going on here because they're saying 56. Maybe there's one on the other side as well, or you've already perhaps used one. But there we go. So it's saying 56 in the middle and 161 on the ends. Yeah, interesting. And coming over the page here, page 6, we've got another ladder to go in there. We've got some little supports there. It's going to look absolutely fantastic. You're going to remove this catwalk and replace it with this one here. You're going to replace, so this whole assembly there is going to go up in place of that. That's going to look stunning. And then you've got your returns there for your catapults. You're going to remove all these safety nets from around them and replace them with the photo etch safety nets. Remove all these nets from here, replace them. And then here we've got 7, so you're going to remove all this plastic here and put all this lovely photo etch in there. It's going to just look so much better. And then we've got this here. That's another one of those radar emplacements, I think, or whatever it is. We've got a ladder there going up that mast. And then we're going to replace that one there. We've got replace these bits of railings, replace a little platform. Again, replace that little ramp there with these lovely steps. Across the stern there, we've got the safety net going in, and we've got another little railing going across. And that's it. So don't worry, it says 7 of 8, but quite often the last page is just advertising for other sets, so I don't bother printing it, I save the ink. So there we are. So that's basically everything for the ship. I just want to put this away a minute and then we'll come back and look at the crew. Okay, so finally for the Big Ed Set 2, this is the aircraft carrier figures, US Navy, present 3D. So they're saying 3D, but they're not. They look pretty 2D to me. One of the biggest problems with these is going to be the edges. This is going to be the problem with these photo etched figures. And I'm just trying to see now if they've painted the edges. It looks like they might have done actually. I'm going to get my magnifier. No, the edges aren't painted. So basically what you're going to do, you can see here we've got figures, okay, they've got all their correct colour shirts on and everything. And you're basically going to fold them over. So you've got the front here. So if you look at this first one, let me grab something to point with. Look at this first figure here. You can see his head and shoulders is on the bottom, and it's just his back. So you're going to basically cut it off and fold it over away from you. But depending how it's going to look, I'm not sure if you're going to have shiny edges. There are actually 3D printed figures out there, which I think would be better. But clearly you'd probably have to paint them. We've also got the crew there in their sort of kneeling down position when they put their arm out and everything. So there we go. I'm not sure if there's any, yeah, there are instructions, there you go. So very, very simple. If you need instructions for these, I think you've got a problem. So you certainly won't be getting on very well with the rest of the photo etch Big Ed set, that's one thing for sure. So there we are. So that's been video 2 for you. Hope you enjoyed it. That's basically the 2 Big Ed sets for USS Enterprise, CVN 65, and hopefully you aren't bored and you managed to stay awake. My voice is going, you might be pleased to hear. And yeah, I wanted to sort of basically show you what was in there. So it's kind of a review of photo etch, and also a little bit of a sort of eye-opener for those that aren't familiar with it all. Okay, so any questions, pop them down below. And as I say, video 3, we're going to be looking at another product, and it's going to help you vastly if you are new to the hobby and you want to build this with the photo etch and everything. So I'll see you back soon for that one. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.